Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
How's everybody doing?
Fine.
My name is Titus Rich Jr., and I'm going to be acting as the mediator for your case this afternoon. But before we begin, there are a few things I want to say to you, and then I'll get out of the way. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming to this place. The place that you've come to is called the Institute for Mediation and Conflict Resolution. Now, you may not know what that is, so I'll give you a little idea of what it is. The Institute for Mediation and Conflict Resolution is what is called a Community Dispute Resolution Center. In New York, there are 62 counties, and each county has a place where people in the 62 counties can go to discuss things that they think that is important to them, they feel is important, which have not gone into the court system, which should not be in the court system. They don't want it in the court system. The police are not involved, but yet they still feel like they need to talk about some things. And they can do that through the process of mediation at the Community Dispute Resolution Center, of which IMCR is one. Now, the Community Dispute Resolution Center is not like a court of law where we swear people in, and we're not concerned about whether people are lying or maybe telling the truth. It's just a place where you can have an informal conversation and discuss with each other the complaint that was brought here today. And you will do that and discuss that complaint through the process of mediation. Has either of you ever participated in a mediation session before?
No.
Okay, let me give you an idea of what mediation is. Mediation is a voluntary process where you two have voluntarily come here or decided to come here to talk about an allegation that was brought by Mrs. Courant. And you have an opportunity to know what that is as the situation goes on. You will talk about the situation, you will talk with each other about the situation, and again, it's voluntary. It is also private in this room, as we are the only ones here. It is also confidential, meaning that what is said in this room stays in this room, meaning that I, as a mediator, cannot go out and talk about what you talked about in here, meaning that you should not go out and talk and tell other people what each other have said in the room. So things are about as confidential as they can get, meaning that if things go further than this, you could not call me into a court or some other place to try to tell what happened here. Judges can't ask for that. Lawyers really can't ask for that. So it is pretty much confidential, except for one thing, and that is during your discussion, if I, as a mediator, think that I hear of something that could be considered child abuse, it is my responsibility to talk to the director, where he or she will determine whether it should be followed up on or not, that suspicion of child abuse. And I don't think that's the case here. But anyway, that's the exception to the confidential rule. Now, all of us are going to play some roles. We have roles to play in this. Your role as the complainant and respondent is to tell your story to each other, not to me. You will tell your story to each other. You will listen to each other and try to understand each other, where they're coming from and why they're saying what the things that they are saying, etc., etc. Now, my role is to facilitate that discussion. I will not be the person who decides the solution to this situation that you are involved in. I will help you get through the process as best I can and to help clarify positions that each one of you might have. But I cannot and will not take sides, because I am neutral as much as neutrality can be. Now, during the course of your discussion, you may want to say some things to me that you don't want each other to hear. If that happens, you ask for what is called a private caucus. The open discussion that you two are having is called a public caucus, but there may be some things that you want to say that you don't want the other person to say, and we can give you time, or you can have time to discuss that with me as a mediator, and you may not want the other person to hear. It will not be revealed to the other person unless you said it's okay to reveal that to the other person. That's the private caucus. I have some paper and pens here that you can use if you want to take some notes while one or the other is speaking. It's good to do that so that you don't cross each other and you don't interrupt the conversation of the other person. You can have that if you want to do so. I may also be taking some notes to try to help me clarify some things and maybe ask some questions that I might want to ask of you. But my notes will be destroyed at the end of the session. Yours would probably be destroyed as well. However, having already signed the consent form, you've already stated that you should not use anything that's said in this room against a person outside. So you can destroy yours if you want. It's up to you. But I will destroy mine. Now, we have some ground rules. I want to set some ground rules. And my ground rules are that you remain seated. Another ground rule is that you don't curse each other or use inflammatory language toward each other. Another rule is that you try to be as courteous as you can to each other and don't touch each other. Is that clear?
Yes.
What I would also ask you is, do you have any other ground rules that you think you two would like to have each other adhere to?
Yeah, if I can start outside for the ladies' room.
If you feel that you may have to get up, do you have an opportunity to, or the right to do that? Yes, by all means, yes. Now, during your talk, you're going to be talking about something that brought you here, something that you heard, something you felt, something that you saw, something you may thought was done to you in one way or another, or something. I want you to try to remember while you're talking and try to identify what it is that kept going to the point that you came to mediation. Usually people talk superficially, they talk on the top about what happened rather than why it happened or why they think it happened. So I want you to think about the why you think it happened and why you felt it was necessary to come to mediation. And once you do that, you can make a decision as how you want to handle that or either clear up that thing that caused you to be here. And you want to find the real concerns and to recognize what it is and to come up with the best solution that you can so that it won't happen again and so this will probably be over with. Now, may you be referred to, would you like to be referred to as Mrs. Courant?
Yes.
And would you prefer to be referred to as Miss Loriano?
Yes.
Okay, so we refer to you each other as Mrs. Courant and Mrs. Loriano. Now, since Miss Courant brought the allegation, it's typical for her or the person who brought the allegation to go first. Because if you started first, you may not know what it is. So it's best that you begin first, Ms. Courant, and tell Ms. Loriano, why do you think or it was necessary or what got you to the point that you felt that you must come to talk about this situation? And you can begin that now.